So, you put yourself forward for a TED Talk, didn't you? And you were accepted. And now you've got that whole thing written, but you got to remember how to deliver that talk on the day in front of people when it matters. And you're shitting yourself. I know the feeling, and I want to help you with it. So, stick around. Love. My name is Richard Mulholland. I'm the founder and chief evangelist of presentation powerhouse Missing Link. More importantly, for the context of today's video though, I am a speaker that has spoken a 4-minute talk on the main stage of TED. I have delivered, I think, 4 or 5 TEDx talks. I've trained many TEDx speakers. In fact, had the great privilege of being invited by TED themselves to Edinburgh to train their TED fellows for the main stage. Now, I want to use some of that experience to share with you how you can remember your TED talk. But I want to do it in a slightly different way. You see, it's one thing to deliver something theoretically, it's something else to understand it practically. So when I was recently invited to speak at a high-profile event called The Gathering and given just 11 minutes to deliver a hard-hitting speech that I wanted to remember, I knew that this was a great chance to be a rat in my own laboratory.
Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I think so, Brain.
So I want you to stick around with me for the process, and at the end I'm going to recap exactly what worked for me and how it happened and how it was received. All right, so it's T-minus 9 days to go to the event. The first thing I need to do is prioritization. You see, I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember this entire speech exactly word for word. However, I can get around that by just memorizing the bits that I need to remember word for word. To do that, I'm going to divide my talk into 2 parts, lines and links. The lines are the elements that I want to deliver word perfect. The links are the words and passages that will get me from a line to line to line. You see, when you want to deliver a presentation, you may want to hit some words perfectly, but that doesn't mean you have to hit every word perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my script and I'm going to look for the micro scripts, those terms that I want people to remember, that I want to hit perfectly. I'm going to mark those in bold. Then when I'm rehearsing, that gives me content to start working on before I get through everything. So that's the job for today. Let's see how it goes. Okay, 7 days to go. I'm starting to get a bit nervous now because I don't know the presentation well at all. But that's actually a good thing, and I want to explain to you why. So what I did yesterday was 2 things. The first technique I did was called chunking. So what I did is I broke my presentation, I took it, and I just basically wanted to give myself breadcrumbs. So 1 word to describe almost each paragraph or each line that I had to say, and just to break it down so if I can just get the flow right. The next thing that I did is I recorded myself delivering it. So I basically read the entire talk through, I've recorded it to myself. Now, when I was looking at those breadcrumbs, it just kind of, if it's hard to follow, that's the first warning sign that your structure is off. So I was going through the breadcrumbs and I was thinking that, and I was thinking, this doesn't feel right. But then this morning on my way to and from jiu-jitsu, I listened to the full script, the recording of myself doing it. And I thought, there's places that are not right. So the recording is great because it helps you dial it in. And I actually tried to mouth along with the words while I was doing it, just to hear it and to internalize it. So it's definitely really enjoying that as a technique, but it also showed me a blind spot. And that's what I'm going to work on today. There's also one other technique that I want to work on, but I'll let you know about that in a second. Okay, so here's the deal. I have now 6 days to go until the speech. I've rewritten it. I'm feeling very good about the content, and definitely that first step of recording it really helped me. I've actually had to shuffle my breadcrumbs around now because I ended up shifting quite a bit of the content, which is cool. I feel in good shape about it, and actually rewriting elements of a talk is a great way for just getting it straight into your brain. There's already lines that I feel just sit very naturally with me. I was chatting to Nick Haralambous, another professional speaker today, and the one difference is that I'm delivering a speech, not a talk. Delivering a speech, I can very easily show up with a script or with notes and people would accept it. Barack Obama delivers speeches, not talks. Now he delivers talks, but before those speeches, those were speeches. And because I want to deliver that, I have permission to get away with not remembering it. But as Nick said, burn your ships, bro. Like if you do that, then you might become reliant on it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm still going to work under the premise that I will be delivering this as a talk, but I may actually bring some notes with me, even if they're just props, so that the audience gets the understanding that I'm delivering a speech. The other thing I want to talk about today is that one of the most popular methods that people teach for remembering speeches is the journey method, or a memory palace, where you plot elements of your speech at a different position. So if you imagine a route between anywhere and your home, And you imagine every intersection has something visualizing part of your speech. That way you can stay on track. But I don't need to do that because I have slides. And the most important tool for me is my presenter view that I can see on the comfort monitor. So I always know where I'm going with my content. If you, in a regular speech, only need to remember your links, the kind of what am I talking about content and not these hard and fast lines, just knowing where you're going, your segues is enough. So I will have that luxury on the day, but I still want to make sure that I've got my content dialed in. So that's what I'm going to be working on now. I've re-recorded the talk. I'm going to be going on a plane now, so I'm flying to Oman.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
So what I'm doing now is, and I found this to be very helpful, all I'm doing is I'm walking where I can speak out loud. And I'm going through and I'm looking at the first little line of each paragraph of my script. And then I'm just saying the whole sentence. And I'm looking, if I've got the links okay, then I'm fine. I'm not overthinking it. I'm not trying to get word perfect. I'm trying to get paragraph perfect, if that makes sense. I want to get the right message across in the right amount of time. It doesn't matter what little words I use in between, unless they're those lines. But for the link text, just being paragraph perfect is enough. So that's me. I'm walking, rehearsing, and that's it.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
In fact, that's one of the challenges I've not mentioned. I've got 3 different speeches to deliver between now and then. And I'm speaking in Oman. I'm doing a talk called 5 Mistakes Entrepreneurs Make. Then I'm talking about speaking to lead in Bahrain on Monday. And then I'm speaking for one of the banks and talking about slaying sales dragons on Tuesday. Then I fly home, on Wednesday. Then I fly home. And then my talk for the gathering is on Thursday.
Bloody hell!
Hopefully when you're learning your TED Talk, you won't have to do that. All right, so I'm just like at 30 minutes from leaving the house. I just did a run through with my team and I was going a minute over. And there was one bit of content that I had in from the very beginning. And at this late stage in the game, we cut it. And the reason that I was able to cut it is because I followed those steps and breadcrumbs. I was just removing one of the breadcrumbs. The talk is better for it. Killing your darlings is always something you should be willing to do. So I'm on my way. Wish me luck. All right, so there it was. I got onto stage the other day. I had all the nerves, all the butterflies you would expect to have. But for the most part, barring one little cue that I was a bit frustrated with, I hit it out the park. I would say I delivered with about a 95% accuracy of what I was hoping to get. And it was very, very simple. I broke my speech down into lines and links. That was unbelievable. It gave me the freedom to forget. You know, I heard a quote once, we don't write things down to remember, we write them down to forget. And giving yourself permission to forget or not to be perfect in some of your lines is just the most incredible thing. I understood my chunks, so big broad categories, big fat stepping stones that I was able to jump across. And then the final thing, probably one of the most helpful ones, was that I recorded myself and I kept on re-recording and re-recording every time I had a new version, and I played that back. Sometimes I would record little stanzas one at a time and I would just go through that until I got it dialed in. But it was incredibly powerful to be able to hear that, also to realize when things weren't working, and then just that rational process of saying, oh, that doesn't work. It would work better if you say this way. Then I'm doing this in my car while I'm walking, and it just becomes more dialed in. This does not have to be difficult. Remember, you're not at high school reciting a poem. It's got to feel natural. When you have that right combination of lines and links, that allows you to be natural. It gives you freedom and a framework to play with, and you should be playing. Because remember, your audience can never enjoy receiving a presentation more than you enjoy delivering it. Everything should be fun. The process of getting you to the stage and the stage itself. And that is my hope for you, that you go on stage, deliver the best experience, have the best time, and just come away feeling like $1 million. All right, that's it for me. Until the next time, like and subscribe, for goodness sake. Be loud.